on the White podcast, and we're just 2 episodes away from episode 300. Nothing like UFC 300 will be planned for this podcast because that you just can't top that. But as we work our way closer, I got to bring in some of the just most golden talent I know in all of combat sports, in all of sports. My good friend, Ray Flores. Ray, we got a huge boxing fight to talk about this weekend. But first and foremost, how are you?
Doing great, man. Enjoying springtime here in Chicago. The Bulls are, possibly one win away from making it into the playoffs. I'll take those small victories. And we just came off of a heck of a card. Combat sports is rocking, getting ready to fly to Bangkok in a little over a week. So for One Fight Night 22 coming up on May 3rd, we kick off Cinco de Mayo the right way in Bangkok, right there, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time on Prime Video in the U.S. and Canada. Sky Sports of the UK, because, Mike, you are worldwide, as everybody knows. And congrats to you on episode 298.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And yeah, man, obviously you're doing great things. I just want to throw this out there, and I will probably go off on a tangent here, but go ahead, enjoy your Bulls victory, and then beat the Jimmy Butler-less Heat, and then welcome to Boston. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, the bottom line is to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm okay going up against the number one team in the Eastern Conference. I can't wait. Hopefully game 3 will be on next Saturday. And if that's the case, I'll be at the UC again, rocking, waving those red towels and trying to see an upset victory. It will be an uphill task, but let's take care of business tomorrow.
I'm not going to pick fight with any people in the Chicago media, but Stacey King said during the in-season tournament, well, we're going to have to play them later in the season. And because the Celtics ran up the score during the in-season tournament, he was talking about getting their licks back. I welcome it. In a playoff series. Let's get some licks back.
That is a deep ball club. I'll tell you, Boston is a deep ball club, and I love their young core is just getting better, and that is problematic for the rest of the league. Again, though, having guys like Caruso, DeRozan, Vooch, look, man, they could still go, and Io's going to get plenty of quality minutes. Kobe's getting plenty of quality minutes. He had 42 last night, so I'm excited. But again, I'm not going to discount the Miami Heat even without Jimmy Butler. So I don't think that is a foregone conclusion.
No, I agree with you there. And it'll be a hell of a Friday night game. The play-in tournament, always hitting on all cylinders in the NBA. I'm loving it. I think it was a great addition to the NBA playoff seeding. But let's talk about why we're here. And Ray, usually, I would tell my loved ones or my friends, and I'd be like, oh my God, we have this amazing box. The same way I would for every UFC Saturday, I get up for the big boxing events. Right? I got to be quite honest with you. I'm not as thrilled about this fight because of the actions of Ryan Garcia leading up into it. You've been covering combat sports for a very long time. You've been involved in some of the biggest events ever. Have you ever seen a fighter act like this the entire lead up to a fight?
He's a polarizing figure. I know Ryan and his parents, and I could tell you that they're very good people. He's a polarizing figure, man. He literally does beat to his own drum. Now, the thing is that people want to, criticize and say, this is bad, this is not good. Here's the deal. I don't believe in judging anybody's actions when it comes to how Ryan's been acting until the fight is over. So what if this kind of behavior benefits him? What if it's like motivation? What if it's something that just allows him to sort of express himself? Because if he was the stereotypical fighter, and what do I mean by what I just said, the stereotypical fighter? That means locking yourself up in isolation, or either having a training camp away from your family or having a training camp at home where all you do is you grind for 5 or 6 days a week. It's sparring, it's conditioning, it's eating right, sleeping right, having a dietitian, especially at this level, nutritionist, making sure you're on weight. Ryan is doing things in a bit of an unconventional manner. What it's doing is getting people to talk. Is it translating to box office? We will find out on Saturday. Jim Boone, one of my very good friends, as you know, from KO Tickets, said that, even though tickets aren't moving as good, or it's not right now a sellout as of this moment, he believes by Saturday, every seat at Barclays Center will be filled. Thus, opening up the door to what I feel will be a fun atmosphere. I just think Ryan's unique, man. And I'm not saying what he's doing is good. I'm not saying what he's doing is bad. We'll find out on Saturday if this helps him out to put on a quality performance. Because at the end of the day, Mike, the guys are going to walk to the ring. The bell will sound, and then he's got to deal with Devin Haney, who I think is one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. I think he is brilliant. I think his ring IQ is incredible. I think his technical boxing skill is fantastic. I think he's generating more power now that he's at 140. I think Devin can be a guy that could really go out there and, if he wants to, step on the gas and potentially mow you down, thus creating the knockout. I don't know, though, if he wants to put himself in any peril. He's so good that he could stay on the outside, pick you apart, and pretty much amuse himself for 12 rounds and not have a scratch on him. That is how good Devin Haney is. But Ryan Garcia has a very difficult challenger and a champion in front of him on Saturday. Plus, Ryan, this is his second chance at a world title. I mean, these opportunities do not come frequently. And people want to talk about it's interesting because typically we talk about the world title in a major way. That's secondary to this fight because the personalities are so vastly different. You couldn't ask and write a more different script in terms of how Ryan Garcia is personally and how Devin Haney is personally.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not trying to disrespect Ryan Garcia, but I'm just concerned, and this is coming from an MMA guy who has followed the likes of Conor McGregor, John Jones, and the likes, right? But the whole thing with the being kidnapped and all of that, and I know we'll never know truly what went on, and I know boxing has had, the Mike Tysons of the world, but is there any legitimate cause for concern, not just coming into this fight, but for Ryan Garcia, the person, in your mind?
I don't think so because he has good parents, man. I mean, I know I spent a week with his younger brother, Sean Garcia, in South Korea back in what is it? We're in what year? We're 24. All right, in December of
Yep.
22, I spent a week with them in Seoul because Sean was fighting on the undercard of Manny Pacquiao DKO. And we were, we had a lot of meals together and everything else. I mean, I think that they understand how Ryan is and they're letting him be Ryan because ultimately they can't step in the ring for him. Nobody can. So if this behavior is going to facilitate a better performance and is going to get him to get over that threshold and become a world champion, which is something that he's always strived to do, then it works for him. Again, I won't know until after the fight and until, win, lose, or draw, how he's going to handle that. What I will tell you, though, is that the way that he is, he's a very rich man and it is prize fighting. And he has made some very, very good purses and made some substantial money over the course of his young career. But if he wants to continue those big paydays, as they say, he's got to put on a quality performance on Saturday against Devin Haney.
And obviously, what a tough challenge that will be against Devin Haney. But let's talk positively. What does a win over Devin Haney do for Ryan Garcia? Because myself, I'm just a schmuck in the boxing world, but you have schmucks like myself talking about Ryan Garcia in this light. You have plenty of other people on social media talking about Ryan Garcia in another light. And if he comes in, hands Devin Haney his first professional loss, I mean, what does this do to Ryan Garcia and for Ryan Garcia?
It's a great question, Mike. And what I would say is that it puts him in the top 10 pound for pound rankings. I'm that guy. I'm going to say that I'm that guy because you beat Devin Haney, who's been beating the likes. Now, mind you, close wins over Lomachenko, goes to Australia, gets some fat checks by beating George Kambosos, a very determined George Kambosos. And, you go out there and you beat Devin Haney. Haney's coming off of the win against Regis Prograis, campaigning here at 140. That's impressive, man. That's a statement victory for Ryan Garcia. And what it might do, to be fair, if Ryan somehow pulls this off, because he's capable of doing it, I think it's going to facilitate this mystique and this even more theatrics from Ryan Garcia. I'll say, and I use this word with Ryan a lot, unconventional. He was in the club on what, Monday or Tuesday? He was like hanging out. I mean, I don't know if this was true or not, but I saw someone put on Twitter that he spent 40 grand on alcohol for the club. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but He was at the club. He was in the DJ booth. He was doing his thing. I mean, they literally look like, I think it was someone on social media said, a boxing influencer said that they look like they're a cop show. They're like a funny cop movie because of how different they are, and their banter back and forth has me rolling, man. But Ryan, I think if he wins this fight, he's top 10 for sure. And you think the antics have gotten or extreme now? Can you imagine if he somehow wins this fight? What kind of antics, theatrics, man? When Ryan Garcia comes to town, the show will be in town. That's for sure, man. I mean, because he brings it. I mean, they got thrown out of the New York Mets game, like throwing out. They were there, dude, and they were on the field, and you get thrown out. Like, what? This is crazy. But you know what? I'm intrigued. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely intrigued. And the same question though for Devin Haney, right? Because here's a guy who just had to his already stellar undefeated record. Where would he go from here with a win over Ryan Garcia?
He's making more money, that's for sure. He's gonna generate a lot more demand. His minimum's gonna be even that much higher. But I'll tell you what, and this is where, I mean, I don't know if it's fair, but it's the truth, is that it's gonna depend on how Devin Haney, if he's victorious over Ryan, how he does it. Does he finish him? When does he finish him? Does he beat him handily and not allow Ryan to win a round? Is he ever in any danger? Does he get hurt? Because you know why, Mike? They're going to compare Devin Haney's performance against Ryan Garcia to Gervonta Davis. And Devin will not be able to circumvent that until he fights Gervonta Davis. So here is, again, I mean, I think that fight, I don't know when, but I think it eventually will happen. I mean, Devin Haney's only 25, and he mentioned, I think today on the yesterday during the media workout, that he's accomplished so much at 25, and that's the truth. Him and his father should be commended for how they have managed Devin Haney. I've known Devin Haney since he was like 19, 20 years old when he was fighting on Showbox. The kid was super talented even then, but it raises his minimum. It'll open up the door to more fights, but it also opens up the door for him in terms of criticism, because like it or not, after Saturday night, people are going to be saying, okay, what did Devin do against Ryan? How did he look? And was that a better performance than that of Gervonta Davis? That will be answered on Saturday.
Beautifully said. All right, now I'm thrilled. Now I'm excited. Now I'm pumped up. And I'm going to give your sport of boxing, Ray, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of love here because UFC 300, we had all the bells and whistles. We had the fireworks. We had Max Holloway's epic performance, Alex Pereira. But man, boxing is about to take over for at least the next 45, 60 days. How
Yeah, I
exciting
mean, I don't know, bro. I mean, I think it's room for it, but I'm a combat sports guy. I'm a Muay Thai guy.
I
I'm a
know you are. No, I
kickboxing
know you
guy.
are. I know you are. But I've always respected you in all
Yeah,
combat sports. But
I got you.
with boxing, man, I mean, looking at this schedule from April all the way through, especially May, the amount of champions we have fighting. And then I may have one or two questions about what the crazy
Yeah,
fight we have in July, but I mean, so many great fights coming up in the next 30, 45 days. Lomachenko, Kambosos, Fury, Usyk. I mean,
Canelo
Canelo's
Munguia, May
back.
4th.
Yeah, Canelo's back. There's so many fights stumbling
Yeah,
over my
bro.
words. I'm like, as an MMA, as a go-to MMA guy, and when I say you're the boxing guy, it's because you're the guy that if I have a conversation with you,
For
boom,
sure.
I'm there. Boom, I'm there.
Absolutely.
Once I talk to Ray, I'm there. So how exciting is this next upcoming month for boxing?
It's going to be really good, man. I mean, you know what? The fights are made. Now they got to deliver. I mean, it's like that whole thing, the promoters and people, they ask, they want, they deserve. Now you're getting these fights. Now the fights got to deliver. And I'm curious over these next, as you mentioned, 45 days, what is going to be the best fight? To me, as I'm looking at it, I mean, Canelo Munguia is going to be fun, man. For as long as it lasts, that's going to be fun. That's going to be loud. That'll be electric. My brother will be there in Las Vegas for that one. I'm pumped for Canelo and Munguia. Also, Fury and Usyk. That'll be an interesting matchup. I mean, talk about the head of Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey with Tyson Fury. the Gypsy King, finally getting in the ring against Alexander Usyk, who is pretty much a Terminator in terms of his approach and his demeanor. We will likely, barring a draw, have an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world for the first time in a long time. That's significant for the sport. So a lot of questions, man, and we're going to get some quality answers, and it all begins on Saturday.
Absolutely. One on that Usyk and Fury fight. And obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but a simple-minded guy like myself would say the state of boxing, the world of boxing, and especially boxing fans should want Tyson Fury to beat Alexander Usyk because after what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, that is at the heavyweight level, hands down, the biggest fight the world will watch.
Yeah, it'll be significant, but I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree with you in the sense that
That's fine.
I'm not a Tyson Fury guy, man. I think he's a clown. I think he has all these antics. He contradicts himself, and I'm not looking for a fighter to be a thespian and to be a philanthropist by any means. But I'm sick of the crap that Tyson Fury decides to talk and all the taunting and all the nonsense and all the antics. It's sickening, man. I mean, I've been sick of his nonsense since the Deontay Wilder days. And now I hope here's a guy in Alexander Usyk that is a fighting, he is a top quality prize fighter. All he wants to do is fight and test himself against the world's best. Undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. And now he has the opportunity to be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Usyk will fight guys. He's not going to be worried about. Look, he painted Tyson Fury into a corner, and if people don't understand that, look at the negotiations. Fury's like, I want this. Okay, cool. This fight was supposed to happen in December, and why didn't it happen in December? Because Tyson Fury came in like a slob against Francis Ngannou, got put on his ass, lost that fight, but they gave him the decision. You know why? Because there's too much money involved with undisputed heavyweight championship. Blah 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 blah. Francis Ngannou kicked his ass, bro. And Francis Ngannou should have been given the victory. Fine, I'll pass that. Then, he was like, I'm going to fight him in December. What happens? He gets his butt whipped by Ngannou. The fight's delayed. Flights are delayed as well. And it's like, all right, now we had the date. And then I'm hearing reports, I don't know how true this is, that he was getting, he wasn't looking good in sparring. Then, the cut happens. And everyone's like, oh, poor Tyson Fury, this and that. It's like poor Tyson Fury. This guy ridicules every fighter that he steps in the ring with, and he's a complete abomination. He's a disgrace to what it means to have class. It's like ridiculous, man. Him and his brother Tommy couldn't be more polar opposites. Tommy's a wonderful bloke, as they say in the UK. And Tyson's nothing but a clown. And I hope that Alexander Usyk shuts him up so that Usyk can defend the heavyweight championship of the world on multiple occasions during the year in multiple parts of the world, because Usyk will be a fighting champion. Fury is going to be like, okay, I want to fight AJ. If Fury beats Usyk, then I'll be like, I'll fight AJ, but I want 95% of the purse, 5% for you. And it's just a bunch of nonsense and crap, and he doesn't think practically. And you know what? He's gotten that to that point. He's earned it, but at the same time, I don't agree with it, bro. So that's my long-winded diatribe.
I loved it, dude. I loved it, right? I touched the nerve. I loved it.
Just like,
bro,
come on, man.
Much. May 18th can't get here fast enough. Obviously, we got business this weekend, but I think everyone's even more excited now for a fantastic fight. I will say I am of the Fury fanhood, but we'll digress on that. I have to ask, because the way you just felt and spoke on Tyson Fury is how I will probably, until you grab me by the collar and shake me and say, Mike, he's going to be in the sport, deal with it. That's how I feel about Jake Paul. And Ray, I've asked you probably for the last 2 years, probably 3 years. And you know what? I'm going to go on record, and I've written bad articles saying the Paul brothers shouldn't be in boxing and all this. Credit to Logan Paul. The same way you like, literally the way you feel about the Furies is how I feel about the Pauls. Logan Paul is fantastic for wrestling. I'm a fan of his podcast. And I like how he handled the whole Dylan Dennis saga in the boxing ring. I like how he handled everything I can't say the same about Jake Paul because he did these MMA circus shows. Then he went and beat up a few guys that had good boxing records, and they tried to sell us on that. One guy they pulled out of Idaho, I think, from a steel mill. He said, "Hold on, I'll be right back in 7 days. I got to go get a paycheck real quick." And now we're back into the nonsense, right? I don't know. You can't tell me you want to fight a champion. It's like me telling you, hey, Ray, I want to drive a Lamborghini for the next 5 years of my life. And the only car dealership I go to is Toyota. I'm not going
Yeah.
to get what I want.
No, you're not.
I understand the antics in the theater and, as they say in the pro wrestling world, the cinema of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. But like, I can't take it seriously. Everyone in the world will watch because mainly of Mike Tyson, and it's on Netflix, which is huge. But
Massive.
when are we going to like stop this kind of saga with Jake Paul?
I don't know, man. I mean, because it's working for him. I mean, he's printing money left and right. And I know that fight fans are probably like, and I get it. They're probably like, Ray, why do you keep talking about money? Because that's what it is, man. It is prize fighting. They want to fight for the biggest purses. Jake Paul is going to get a fat check, man. I mean, they might as well back up the Brinks truck, bro. I mean, it's ridiculous the kind of money he's going to make. Mike Tyson is going to get paid. Now, what does this do? It's going to draw a lot of eyeballs, but to me, it's like Jake is a master salesman, and he does it in such an eloquent, not an eloquent, but he does it in a way that it touches the nerve one way or another. He is a genius. He's a marketing genius. That's what my analysis of Jake Paul. I don't know, man, but I'll tell you what, because he's generating so much money, the sanctioning bodies are going to be like, oh, Jake, you want to fight for a regional title? 3% of your purse? And you're making how many zeros? No problem, man. To the front of the line you go. All right, Jake, to the front of the line. Here we go. We're going to put him up there against some guy from Eastern Europe that no one has heard of this side of the Atlantic. That's what'll happen. It's a business. So Jake is going to have some opportunities, but first and foremost, he's got to look at July 20th. I'm actually a bit worried for Mike Tyson because, I mean, if this is a real fight, like if this is not an exhibition, Mike can get seriously hurt, dude. I mean, I don't care what people say. People want to look at, oh, well, Jake's got flaws, this and that. Jake's 26 years of age. He's going to be with 26, 58. I'm not a mathematician, 32 years younger than that of Mike Tyson. Jake is a terrific athlete because him and his brother Logan were standout high school state champions in wrestling in Ohio. Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
Ridiculously hard, dude. They could have probably gone D1, but they didn't because they were making money on YouTube and social media and stuff. They're both great athletes. Jake can punch. Jake works with Jay Leon Love, who is, I thought, done a pretty stellar job of adapting to being one of the trainers with Jake Paul. He's got that old school Kronk boxing gym, some guys from the Kronk boxing gym in Detroit around him. He's getting good sparring. I mean, he's not a bad fighter. Is he the likes of Canelo? No, but you know what? The fact that he can already put himself into the Canelo discussion is unfreaking believable. That is why he's a marketing genius. But again, I just hope Mike doesn't get hurt, man. I mean, that's just my biggest thing. I don't want to see Mike Tyson splattered in the canvas, looking up at the lights at AT&T Stadium on July 20th.
I definitely don't want that either. I think the other side of me is hoping that old Mike Tyson, I think Mike, I keep telling everyone around me, I'm like, I hope Mike gets hit one time and then just the old days of Mike comes back and he's like,
oh,
nah.
yeah, well, we'll see.
But last one here for you, Ray. I just
Yeah.
mentioned it and you kind of pointed at it. Netflix. This is huge. I mean,
Massive.
with, you obviously have roles on Amazon Prime and you've seen how HBO Max, or now Max, has picked up the rights to Bellator, and PFL and UFC are on ESPN Plus. When we've seen what's happened in HBO boxing, Showtime boxing, for Netflix, especially in the boxing realm, what could Netflix bring to the combat sports world?
I mean, it's going to generate a lot of eyeballs. I mean, look at where the WWE is going to Netflix, and that's going to be just insane. They're going to draw so much. The numbers are going to be off the charts because the WWE right now is the hottest stage it's been since the Attitude Era. And Netflix with them, I think it's a home run proposition. I think Netflix is going to generate a lot of eyeballs, but I don't know if Netflix is, and I don't know anything, I haven't heard anything or whatever, but I don't know if Netflix is like going to really invest in boxing long term. I think it's going to be these big events because that's what Netflix does. I mean, that's what it seems like. I think they love the fact that WWE because they get the library, they get Raw, they're going to do the premium live events. They like big things. They like things that make a statement. This Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight is going to be seen by everybody. The entire world will be watching. They like that. They like big events. I could see about maybe, I don't know if it's once a quarter, but I could see 3 big shows a year for Netflix that they want to do and see what happens. But I think they're kind of dipping their toe into the water with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, seeing how that goes. Viewership wise, it's going to do very, very well. You got Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, number 2. That'll be a terrific co-main event. Before, I mean, look again, marketing genius Jake Paul look at where women's sports right now is just unbelievable, man. It's on fire. You got, women's combat sports that's just phenomenal. You got Caitlin Clark, who's just making headlines everywhere, man. And now you got Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. I mean, it's a great blend because they're giving you something for everybody. And I think Netflix is like, okay, Jake, like we see you, Jake. This is smart. Okay, let's kind of do our thing and let's see what happens. But let me caution you, though, the bell's going to ring. As I mentioned with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney on Saturday night, the bell's going to ring. The bell will ring on July 20th when Jake Paul fights Mike Tyson. And then all those theatrics and all the fun stuff and around it, the build up and, oh my gosh, social media, Instagram, and what did he say? Or what are his shorts or da-da-da-da-da-da. They got to fight eventually. And then that we're going to see how it goes down. And I'm very curious to see how it unfolds.
It all kicks off this weekend. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Ray, do you have a prediction?
The smart money says Devin Haney by decision. I'm curious to see if he can get him hurt, if he tries to turn up the heat. But look, man, you can't count out Ryan Garcia for as out there as he is in his own world. He beats to the drum of Ryan Garcia. King Ryan, that's what he does. He needs the right hand, not just the left hook. But Ryan is quick. He's powerful. He's got Derrick James in his corner. He's got a shot. Whether or not he'll be able to land on Devin Haney, that's another question. But Devin Haney better not fall asleep at the wheel because he could be looking up at the lights if he allows Ryan Garcia to do that. And you want to talk about post-win celebrations? Can you imagine if Ryan were to knock out Devin Haney on Saturday? What kind of party that's going to be in New York? Oh, my goodness. It's going to rival the days of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, bro.
I love it, Ray. You're the Swiss Army knife of combat sports. You can catch him with One Fighting Championship. Follow him on Instagram to stay up to date on all that he is doing at SBR Flores. Ray, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate your time this evening and enjoy the weekend of fights and the next 45 plus days of boxing.
Hey, and also I'm going to enjoy some NBA, bro. Let's. I hope we run into your team and I'm able to provide an unfriendly welcome to the Boston Celtics next week at the United Center. Hey, what happens at that point? I don't know, but let's just get there.
All I'm going to say is, first of all, keep a first-class seat for my man Deuce Tatum and just be happy that I'm allowing him to be the shortest guy talking to Chicago Bulls. I'm the second shortest guy, but no, let's see if the Bulls get past Miami and then you'll be here throughout.
Likewise, brother. Have a great one, man. All the best. Congrats on episode 298.
Thank you.
Later, bro.